We have our very first Saints player reaction to the news of the team hiring Brandon Staley to be the next defensive coordinator. At least I'm pretty sure he is the first player to react, at least publicly. That, and we also have a former All Pro cornerback who played under Brandon Staley reacting to the news on Twitter as well. So let's get into it. That former All Pro player is none other than Jalen Ramsey. Of course, Jalen Ramsey, one of the best cornerbacks of this generation. Period. He played under Brandon Staley in 2020 when Brandon Staley was the Rams defensive coordinator. Of course, that is the year that earned Brandon Staley a head coaching opportunity. Now, Jalen Ramsey, one of the more vocal guys, in the league, he's going to say how he feels, and for him to sort of vouch for him, for Staley, that could be a good sign, right? As you can see right here, he quote tweeted the NFL's post announcing the Staley hire, and he says, "My guy." So I guess that Brandon Staley is Jalen Ramsey's guy. Now, I will say I'm not putting too much stock into this because if you recall last year at the end of the season, Jalen Ramsey along with a number of other Dolphins defenders were pretty vocal about them not liking Vic Fangio as their DC. And we all know what happened a year later. Vic Fangio goes and coordinates a Super Bowl winning defense. So, take this with a grain of salt for what it is. Now, for the Saints player that reacted to the hiring of Brandon Staley, that Saints player is none other than Alontae Taylor, cornerback for the New Orleans Saints. Started his career on the outside, then moved to the slot, then was asked to jump back outside last year after some injuries and after Marshawn Lattimore was traded. He says here on his Instagram, "Just unleash me. I'm going to make happen," right? So it looks like he's fired up. He's ready to go. He's got the thumbs down emojis. That's his signature that he does after a pass breakup. So it looks like he's fired up, ready to go to play under Brandon Staley, right? And another thing I want to talk about is I don't think people realize that Alontae Taylor was legitimately a really, really good nickel defender last year before he was asked to move back onto the outside, right? And when you have a guy like that who you start his career outside, then you ask him to learn a new position inside, then you bump him outside again in the middle of the season. That's hard, right? That's really two different positions. It takes two different skill sets to play on the outside and inside. And when you're having a guy trying to focus and learn one thing, and then all of a sudden you ask him to bump back out and play another position, it's no surprise that he struggled to end the season. But the first, 12, 13 weeks that he was actually playing in the slot, he was really, really good. It was his year 2 playing in the slot, so he was building off of year 1, and he was looking really good. And on that note, on speaking on how good he was through the first 12 or so weeks of the season playing in the slot, this here is a chart from the 33rd team, and it's Havoc play leaders after week 12. Basically plays with a sack, tackle for loss, forced fumble, interception, or pass breakup. Alontae Taylor was the number 1 ranked player in those categories, right? Combined. That's what they call Havoc, right? You can see other people on the list who are phenomenal football players. Andrew Van Ginkel, TJ Watt, Max Crosby, Denzel Ward, Danielle Hunter, Brian Branch, Brian Burns, Trey Hendrickson. Like, these are all elite football players. And then you have Alontae Taylor there at the number 1 spot. So it looks like as of right now, Alontae Taylor is a fan of the Brandon Staley hire. And it seems to me like he's just ready to go. He's ready to get back out there and wash the bad taste out of his mouth. That was the end of last year. It looks like he's fired up, ready to go. And I'm sure his teammates will also be as well. But Alontae Taylor is the first player to actually publicly come out and, react to the news of the Saints hiring their new defensive coordinator. Appreciate you guys watching. Peace.